to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back once again. It is a Sunday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I got out here just a little later today than I usually do. Had my grandkids they stayed the night last night. So when I came back from my run, I spent a little time playing with them, doing the whole grandpa thing. That was fun, and I don't regret that. But I came outside to walk out here to do this podcast today, and I need to hurry up and get this thing done because it is warmer outside than it is in the war room right now. It's about 52 degrees out, no wind, sun is out. It is absolutely beautiful. And as much as I love talking to you guys, I'm going to get this podcast done, and I'm heading outside, and I am going to do some shooting. I'm going to take my 11-year-old out. It's not very often me and him can, where he is home and available. He's really busy during the week with Taekwondo and school and getting home too late, and I have classes. And it's not very often that we get a good warm day like this with no wind, at least this time of year, where we're both here and we're not doing something else. And so that we can get out and do some shooting. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm pulling up my list here because, I have a list today. I've got a gigantic permit class coming up this next weekend, this next Saturday, and I don't even want to say how many people it has in it because I'll say it and then half of them won't show up and then I'll be disappointed. But I've got the max signed up that I can take or that I allow myself to take. I've got 30 people signed up for the permit class, exactly 30 on the nose. Signed up for the permit class this Saturday, and it's going to be nice. It's supposed to be 54 degrees out and light winds. That's what it says now. We'll see what it says, come Thursday. But that's what our Saturday weather this next weekend is supposed to be, and that'll make for an awesome permit class day. In fact, I may struggle keeping everyone's attention in the classroom portion as they all would rather be outside where it's warm. So, I don't know. It's going to be a good class. I got my full crew here coming in to help me out. And with 30 people, I need a full crew here just to make everything go smooth and safe and give everyone the attention that they deserve. So, I don't really have any other classes this week as far as private classes. I've got the shooting academies, and we're coming up on the time change, which means that everyone's going to start we're going to start shooting. The academies are going to start shooting. It is going to be light out. Hopefully the weather's going to be good and warm and we can get after that. So I look forward to that as well. It's time, man. It is time. I talked about a few podcasts back about every year I like to buy new just new things and try them out, right? And one of those things is Ear Pro. Now, I currently am running the, I don't even have them with me, the Axles. It's the Axles in-ear buds. They aren't the connected ones. They got the rechargeable case. And I've been running those for a couple of years now, and I do like them. They're good, but it seems to me and I don't know if it's me getting old and my hearing is wearing out. I'm not sure. But it's even when I got them turned up all the way, it's just so hard for me to hear people talk. Maybe that's a me thing. I'm not saying that the Axles are bad because they still work, and I use them more than the average Joe does. But I did a little research and had some suggestions. I purchased they're called Blackouts, and Coleon Noir. He's on YouTube. Does a lot. If you're in the gun world, you know who Coleon Noir is. Anyhow, he pushes and advertises a set of Ear Pro called Blackout AKT1s. And I went ahead and I purchased those, and they are sitting on my desk right now as we speak, charging up, and hopefully I'll use them later today, and I'll get through an entire permit class with them next weekend. and I will let you guys know, give you kind of a review of how I like those. So far, I did put them on. They do have a little bit of a charge on them. I put them on and turned them up, and I'll be honest with you, the audio, as far as the noise that I hear when people talk, it seems to me like I'm able to turn it up louder than the Axles, and it's pretty crystal. Like, it's pretty crystal clear compared to those. So I'm kind of curious to see how they react on the range. And a side note, you can play music through them like I can the Axles. You can Bluetooth music, and it's pretty darn good audio. So hopefully they'll perform as good, hopefully better than the Axles. Like I said, they were good. They still work, but it just, me hearing people talk, it's muddy, it's cloudy, it sounds like they're in a cave, and I don't want that. I want it to be more of a crystal clear type sound. So we'll see if these fit the bill. I don't know. Yesterday was a pretty nice day too, and finally the range is mostly dried out. So I was able to get in there and fix some of the gravel, kind of rake some stuff around. I was able to burn a bunch of garbage and move a bunch. Pretty much just cleaning the range is what I was doing. I was kind of prepping the range for the permit class that we have coming up this next weekend. Kind of getting a jump on things a little bit. So I did that, and hopefully as we get further into out of winter and into spring, where we know stuff's maybe going to have dried up just a little bit more, I'll get some more dirt work and stuff done. Maybe fix my driveway coming into the range. That would be nice, so that we have that at least filling in a few potholes, not necessarily tearing the driveway completely out. That's a lot of money, but maybe filling in some potholes and getting some stuff worked out. So I look forward to doing that as well. So there is a gentleman by the name of Jim Woolley. He probably, no, he won't mind me talking about him, but him and his brother-in-law took classes from me last year, and they're going to take some classes from, or they are taking classes from me this year. Jim is, he has his son signed up for a class this year, the men's group. And so he actually does a podcast of his own, and it's not necessarily a firearms podcast. He's in the financial world, the investment world is what it is. And so he likes to interview and talk to people who run their own businesses, who entrepreneurs, right? And ask them questions and encourage them, and just kind of let them talk about their business and why they've done what they've done and where they would like it to go and struggles they may have had. And so I jumped on there, and I think we talked for probably an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know. When he gets the podcast done and uploaded, which it might be a few weeks yet, I'll make sure I throw the link up. If you guys are interested, you can take a listen, maybe subscribe to his podcast, show him a little love. That would be amazing. But we're going to come back to that conversation here in just a few minutes. I do want to point out something, and I talk about this all the time. In fact, I mention it in my permit classes a lot, how I love the firearms community. The reason why I love the firearms community, because overall, from all the experience I've had with people come out here taking classes and whatnot, everyone is super helpful and super encouraging. There's just not a lot of negativity. You don't hear people putting other people down, thinking I'm better than you. You come across people trying to help others. And I see that in all my classes. And a prime example, and I don't think the guys will mind me talking about it, but in my elite group. So all my groups, my women's group, my men's groups, my elite groups, we all have group text messages. It's what I use to contact them with, to let them know if class is canceled due to the weather, give them an update, remind them of class, what to bring, all that stuff. It's just easier for me. So we're told not to abuse these group chats, because not everyone likes group chats. And we all do pretty good. Now, the elite men's group, everyone's friends, everyone knows each other, and so it's a pretty small group. There's like 5 guys in there, including me. That's 6. So we share memes and that ask questions and that kind of stuff. And there is one of the guys in that group is struggling. He's struggling because he wants to appendix carry his gun. He's a larger framed individual. Like, aren't we all? I think all of us in that group are. honestly. And he wants to appendix carry, and he's struggling trying to find the right holster and the right fit. I mean, he'll run an appendix in class and he does great, but it's just carrying it all day. He's struggling trying to find something that works, find something that fits for him. He went and he had an appendix holster custom made, and he's just kind of disappointed. The great holster, but it's not. Now, a holster shouldn't be like 100% comfortable. You forget they're there, but you can make them more comfortable. You can make them, especially an appendix carry. You can make them tolerable enough to actually want to carry your gun all day in that chosen position. And he stated his frustrations in our little group chat, man, and everyone jumped in immediately, like within minutes. Hey, here's what you need. You need to do this. Hey, we'll look at your holster. Well, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll adjust the holster. Maybe. And I got a bunch of holster making tools here. I mean, I don't make holsters. I make them for me, but I don't make holsters. But I've got saws, sanders, presses, holster presses, Kydex presses, heat presses, vacuum presses, you name it. And everyone just jumped in. All the guys in that group, I don't know, man. I was so just impressed with everyone. Everyone wants to help everyone. Everyone wants everyone to succeed when it comes to shooting and carrying a gun. And these guys just jumped in, and we'll make this work for you. We'll get it to fit for you. Whatever you need, and it just makes me happy, because honestly, when I started this, I just wanted to kind of foster this community. And I guess we're going to bleed over to what I wanted to talk about before. When I first started Patriot Defense, I wanted to create a community. Now, I am old enough that I came from the days of before Facebook really, I came from MySpace, right? The Facebook wasn't even a thing yet. And one of the big things was online gun forums, which they're still pretty big, but not now that you've got everything else. They aren't the one place everyone goes, right? But I've always wanted to create this community of when I started this business, of shooters, of people that wanted to go shoot. Now, at the very beginning, I didn't quite know what direction I wanted to go. I just knew I enjoyed teaching people, helping people, taking people shooting. And I had this big thing in my brain of, in fact, I started one of my very first Facebook page before I even started the business was we called it LWAG, or it was Life with a Gun. I don't even think that page is still up anymore. I haven't looked at it for a million years. But yeah, it was Life with a Gun, and I started it, and if you carried a gun, you posted memes and asked questions and just did those things on that page. I tried to gather as many people, like-minded individuals that carried a gun on a daily basis, and it wasn't super tactical, and it wasn't super out there, and it wasn't guys that run around in body armor, because that has its place. That's the thing, and that's fine. But that's not what this was about. This was about your everyday average Joe that carried a gun. And that's where this kind of started. And then I went into business, and it just kind of grew from there. And I at one point, I actually created my own online forum, and I forget exactly what it's called. It doesn't exist anymore, but I forget exactly what it was called. Idaho. I don't even remember what it was called, but I'm trying to think, what was that called? But I created an online gun forum, and it kind of took off a little bit, but not really. But I eventually wanted to, when I went into business, when I started doing this on the side with my day job, I wanted to create that. I wanted to create a place for people to talk, to train. I wanted to help people, you name it. And I've done so, and I took a little different route than what I thought it might. I kind of did away with the forum, started the Patriot Defense Facebook page. And now that's pretty good. Like, it's not this massive page, but it's really big. There's people that don't live in the area that are on it that participate, and they found it via the podcast. But most of it's local people, which is fine. But what I envisioned, right, it was a training business, a podcast that just kicked butt, and that might be my problem. We can dive into that later. I think about that all the time. But a podcast, a training business, a Facebook page, a community, right? I even have tried and failed, and I've tried a lot of things, and I've failed at a lot of things. And going into this as a business owner, you make mistakes. You screw up. You bite off more than you can chew, right? Even a Patreon, tried to get a Patreon thing going. I even tried to open like a training Facebook page. Some of these guys around here who are in it will know, and that just kind of fizzled away. It is what it is. You know, you can get a handful of the same people in it, and that's fine and dandy, but really for it to survive, you need a big group of people. But I ended up doing what I wanted to do. I created a community. It just didn't take form in the way that I wanted it to. And I sit here, and as I was on this guy's podcast, Jim's podcast, and I was talking about my business and how it started and what my main goals were and struggles that I've had. And I was, sometimes I'll be honest, man, I get down in the dumps. It's, today's great. I love the vitamin D. I love the sun in the wintertime when stuff gets slow, when new competition comes to town, or something happens, I get a little worried. I get a little frustrated. I'm like, Todd, you just need to step back. You need to quit this. I mean, it's good to be concerned. It's good to see it. It's what drives competition. And I'm not saying I'm the best there is out there, but I've been doing this the longest. I don't sell guns. I train. I give classes. I teach people. That is what I do. And I'm the longest running one in my area that has been doing it. And I have people in my life that help me out, and they're going to know who they are. They're a big listener of the podcast. Thank you, Magnum. He lets me bounce ideas off of him, and he'll talk me down, but he'll also tell me what's going on in the industry, in the local firearms community, because I don't always get out like I should. I kind of stay at home. I won't say stuck at home, but I like to keep myself at home. I'm kind of an introvert a little bit. And I'm sure all the guys, anyone that has met me via Patriot Defense can tell you that. He doesn't leave his house much. And honestly, I don't, unless I absolutely have to. And so, Magnum helps keep me, and the guys help me keep me informed of what's going on and kind of what's out there. And, I'm just so blessed. I really am. I'm just so blessed. I've got great people around me, helping me, encouraging me, pointing things out to me, right, that I might need, they think I need to know or need to see. And I really, really do appreciate that, because starting a business, even though I've been doing this for quite a while now, it doesn't get any easier. And sometimes, honestly, like in the wintertime and stuff, I'll get a little worried. Maybe I get a little depressed. That's just kind of what I do, right? My wife's at work, my kids are at school, or the one kid I have left at home is in school, and I'm here by myself, and I'm good for like a week. And then after a week of that, I'm like, then you just start to worry, you start to get concerned. And anyhow, that's just me. I get lost. Maybe it's no one else. Maybe it's just me, but I get lost in my head. And I sit down and I said, you just got to step back, Todd. You got to look. You got to look at everything. Look at the, you did what you wanted to do, right? And it can only get bigger, but you've created this community, and I really have, right? I have a radio show. I have a podcast. I've got a business. I got people, repeat students. I call, repeat offenders, whatever you want to call them. They come back and take classes every single year. I think I'd have to sit down and actually figure, I want to say it was like 6 years ago. 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I started these shooting academies. It started with the women, and then I opened up one for the men, and it was a little slower to take off, but it started off kind of small, and then it grew, and I changed it, and it kept growing, and the same people were coming, and new people were showing up every year, but we had lots of people to come back year after year after year after year, and I've created my community, and sometimes I forget about that. But I think as a business owner, and this podcast is going to take a way different turn than any of you guys expected, probably actually a way different turn than what I've even expected right now. But I look at the community around me, and I look at the people that support me, and I don't want to stop here. I want to keep this thing going. And I know there's lots of people that would love for me to make it bigger and go bigger. I was on. I'm just everywhere. This is just pouring out of my brain right now. So maybe my soul, I don't know. But I was on this podcast, and he's like, what's your dream goal for the podcast? Like, what direction are you going? Like, what is the future of Patriot Defense? And, honestly, I could sit here and I could do this for quite a few years, and I'm okay. I know I'm never going to get rich doing this. Most firearms instructors out there actually have another job, honestly. And they do that because you're not going to get rich doing this unless you're some superstar, you compete and you're sponsored and all that. And that's probably just never going to be me. But what's my goal? I could sit here and I could make enough money to be happy, to pay the bills, buy a gun here or there, and I'd be completely happy with that, right? But what is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal would be, at least I won't say the ultimate goal, but the next step is I've created this community. I would love, and I've toyed around with this for the last handful of years, to create some kind of like membership program type thing where guys come out, they shoot, they got access to the range on certain days, and they get certain percentages off of upcoming classes. It's like this whole membership deal, and I'd like to do that and they have their own Facebook page, whatever. I would love to create another community inside of the community. That is difficult to do here. I've tried to do it over the last 2 or 3 years, just scratching out notes on paper, trying to wrap my mind about how this would work. And I have such a small range that I use for classes, right? And the range is right next to my house, that it wouldn't work out here, I don't think, because I still need to teach classes, and then I have to shut the range down for classes to allow time for those people who paid like a membership thing to come shoot. It's just not doable. It's just really not. Now, I would love to find, and I mentioned this before, I'm sure I know I have, but the next step would be to find some property where I could build, not an indoor range. Everyone says that, build an indoor range, but do you know how many freaking millions of dollars that costs? And here's me, man. I've done this. I mean, I've had help, right? But money-wise, I've done this on my own. I've taken the risk on my own. And honestly, I don't know people with deep enough pockets that would even be interested in helping me build an indoor range. I just don't. So I just don't think that's going to be a thing for me. Like I said, I'm an introvert. I kind of keep to myself. I'm not out hobnobbing, rubbing elbows with people that have money. It's just not me. But I would love to buy some acreage somewhere, affordable, and Southern Idaho. That those two phrases do not go together anymore, but it's out there. I think if you find it, I'd love to find it in an ideal location. I would like to build I think the first step would be to build two great big shooting bays, like big 3-sided berms, right? Two great big shooting bays, lots of dirt, massive. One I would set up to where I could just give classes. That is all I would do on it. The next one would be a place where I could, I would have stuff set up for pistols. I would have stuff set up for some like rifles. And I would charge. It'd be like a membership thing. Like you would join the shooting club or join the range, however you wanted to phrase it. You could join it, and you could show up, and it would be open certain hours, and you could show up and you could shoot there, as long as you had paid your membership fee. And there might be some other benefits that would go along with that. I would love to do that. That would be the next step. Eventually, what I would do, along with building the berms, probably the next step would be to get, pretty quickly actually, would be to get some kind of classroom situation out there. Whether that be I buy a new single-wide manufactured home, I have a small building built that I could, concrete floor, some in-wall heaters, and call that with a bathroom and call that a classroom, right? That would be amazing. That would have to be the next step. And then the last step would be to eventually move away from where I am positioned right now, where I'm living right now, and build like a shop house, or I say barn dominium, but that sounds freaking fancy, and I don't want anything fancy. I'm just going to call it a shop house, right? Just build a shop house out there as well where my family could live. And so to do this and do this correctly, I'd probably need 10, 20 acres. And I just have to find that. And I have to be able to afford it. And I have to be willing to take that risk. And that's the problem, is it's not me that just has to take the risk. It's my wife and my kiddo as well. So, I mean, that would be the next hurdle for me to jump through, right? Find some inexpensive, in air quotes, because what's inexpensive, right? A property that I could buy that had no water shares. If you're not from around here, water shares is irrigation water to, grow stuff, where I could, drill a well and get water that way, but nothing that I would, wouldn't have any water shares per se. So it would be somewhat affordable and not desirable as farmland, because farm ground is going to be super expensive, and be far enough out that I could get it zoned for what I needed to do with it, and the county would be good with everything. That would be my ultimate goal. And I guess maybe, I've talked about that to some people, and I believe wholeheartly, I believe in a lot of different things, and sometimes I'm in between what I believe in and what I don't believe in. Some people believe in God and they have faith, and that's fine, and I'm cool with that, man. You believe in whatever you need to believe in. I think I went through some things in my life. I'm a little in between what I believe, but I do believe this. I do believe that if you put it out there I want to say manifest, but that sounds really hippy dippy. But I'm going to say manifest, or if you put it out there to the universe, right? If you say your goals out loud, if you put them out there where people can hear you, then a lot of times you will, without even really realizing it, you're going to work harder to get to that goal. So I guess my next step for Patriot Defense, if anyone cares, if anyone were to ask me, would be to go find a place. Go find some property. See what it takes to get set up and do that. Figure out what I need to do to get the zoning changed, to make sure it fits what I want to do. See what I get approved for money-wise. See what I can purchase. See what I can handle. Patriot Defense, honestly, has been pretty frugal as a business. I don't drive around an $80,000 truck. I'm not saying I got tons of money, because honestly, I really don't. But I just need to see what I'm able to do. And I guess I'm just stating this right now because it's in my head all the time. And if I don't state it out loud, then it's not going to happen. I need to try. And whether I try and succeed, fantastic. If I try and fail, well, there you go. I did something wrong, and I got to try again and try and succeed again. This is a really weird podcast, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time, but I got caught up in thinking all this stuff, and I just felt like I had to just blurt it out and put it out there. And not that you guys even care. I mean, I think you care, but I mean, it's not the normal podcast. And I think I just need to put it out there so I can just vocalize what my next step might be. And then maybe I will do what I need to achieve it. So anyhow, that is the podcast. Not much of a firearms podcast. It's like a journey through Todd's brain. And I hope you enjoyed that, because that's an odd place sometimes. Depends on the day, honestly. Depends on the day and how low my blood sugar is. But you got it. So I appreciate you listening. Share the podcast with your family. Share it with your friends. I will see you guys again in a week. And I know we have 2 more podcasts later this week. We got the Welcome to Guns and the training series, and we'll get those up and running to you as well. But as of right now, I am out of here. I am going to go hit the range with my 11-year-old son, and we're going to work on some shooting. I'll talk to you later. Bye.